Genshin Impact is one of the biggest and most successful gacha games around, but it's coming up on 6 years since its release. And because of that, some of its systems are starting to feel a little outdated, especially when compared with newer titles. Now, I did touch on some of these issues in my Is Genshin Impact Still Worth Playing video, but this time I wanted to focus on actual solutions. So today, I'm going over 5 things that Genshin Impact could add in 2026 to make it feel more modern without losing what makes it so special. Let me paint a familiar picture. You finally found the time to log in after a busy day and your resin is capped. Just great. The problem here is that Genshin basically feels like it's punishing you for not playing daily, even if you just didn't have the time. The good news is that other games like Zenless Zone Zero have already solved this issue by integrating an overflow system. This means that a solution is already there. Any excess resin would simply be stored in a secondary pool. So instead of stressing about logging in every day, you can just play whenever you actually have the time without wasting resources. Just really quickly, if you enjoyed this sort of breakdown, feel free to subscribe. I've heard that if you do, you'll win your next 50-50. But anyway, back to the video. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest here. This section was originally supposed to be about adding artifact presets, but while editing this video, I realized that Genshin already has them. So yeah, oops. But honestly, can you really blame me? This has to be one of the most well-hidden features in the entire game, which probably means Hoyoverse should improve its visibility and accessibility. Am I right? But speaking of improvements, the current loadout system still feels pretty limited. Right now we only get 2 slots per character, which doesn't feel enough when we have over 100 characters and upwards of 50, maybe even 60 artifact sets at this point. Ultimately, adding more slots, some slight changes to the UI and even making loadouts easier to manage and maybe locate would go a long way in making experimentation feel smoother and less frustrating. The weapon banner has always been one of the most notorious systems in Genshin Impact. Having both limited weapons on the same banner seems harmless at first, but here's where the problem starts. The fear of losing and getting the wrong weapon can completely change your plans. And yes, you can choose which one you want, but even that isn't fully guaranteed. In Withering Waves, they took a much simpler approach. Separate banners with guaranteed outcomes. If you have the pulls, you get the weapon. It's that simple. Although, to be fair, Genshin does have better free-to-play weapon options, meaning you don't always have to pull. Whereas in Withering Waves, you're much more incentivized to go for the weapon. Personally, I think separate weapon banners would be a much cleaner system for Genshin moving forward. Okay, we all saw this one coming, but based on what I see online, this is probably the most requested feature every single update, and I kinda see why. With recent Archon quests being 2 to 3 hours long, not everyone has the time or even the interest to sit through all of that. But at the same time, just adding a full skip button isn't perfect either, because people will get lost. Instead, we could take another page from Zenless Zone Zero by adding a skip option along with a short summary of the key events. So you get the convenience of skipping without losing the story completely. Now this last one is a bit more of a system level change. Currently, whenever you get duplicates of characters or weapons in Genshin Impact, you acquire something called Masterless Star Glitter. This can then be used to purchase things like Fates or the monthly 4-star characters. While that's already quite useful, I feel like it could go a step further. What if you could use that same system to eventually purchase constellations for limited characters on the current banner? Now obviously this would need to be balanced. For example, you'd have to already own the character before you could buy a constellation. So it wouldn't replace the gacha, it just gives players a long-term guaranteed path. I think this would be a great way to reward players who've invested into the game while giving everyone a bit more control over their progression. And those are the 5 things I'd love to see added to Genshin Impact in 2026. Hopefully at least one of these makes it into the game someday. But I'm curious, what would you add? Don't be shy to drop your ideas in the comments below. After all, we all want Genshin to be the best game it can be. As always, thanks for sharing your time with me, and bye bye.